Hey, what's up, fam? Welcome back to the True Bearing Podcast. My name remains Kwame. This is the podcast where we talk leadership, we talk military, we talk self-growth, we talk lessons learned. Today, I got with me one of my main people, coming all the way about 600 to 700 miles from, Jamaica all the way to Florida. I got my man Alex Sukhram in the building. He's a chief petty officer in the Navy. Really good, and you're gonna know why I say that. But welcome to the podcast, man.
Hey, appreciate you having me.
We've been trying to get you for a hot minute.
Yeah, it's been a while. I've been trying to get the career.
You're a busy guy, man.
Always working, never stop.
Sheesh. Yeah. Just for icebreaker, let's talk about you. Who is Alex Sukhram?
All right, first off, Alex Sukhram is a simple person, but born and raised in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Shout out to the 876. Grew up there. Got the opportunity to move to the States when I was 23. I joined the Navy like 6 months after, and I never looked back. It was the best decision. So, did the whole A school in Chicago and everything. Then got stationed in Jacksonville, Mayport Mafia. And then
this man, he would do anything to make it back to Florida, man.
Yeah, I've been talking about going back since I got here. But did Florida, Tampa Bay, then got out here. But I'm just a simple person, pretty laid back. But I do like to work. When it comes to working, I do put in the hours.
Man, really, and as a chief in the Navy, which most people know, most chiefs are managers,
Yes.
subject matter expert, but they're kind of managers. But I haven't seen that many chiefs that are down on the deck plate doing the work,
I like to. This is one of my favorite sayings. I think I've said it to you several times. On the deck plate, it's like a pedestrian.
Like a pedestrian.
We're out there, providing support all warfare.
Yeah,
I'm there. So that's just my vibe. I get it. There's a transition to be a manager and everything, but I like to actually be there still, getting involved. That it doesn't bother me to get dirty at all. So that's just my vibe. Simple guy. Simple guy.
And then joining the Navy as an electrician's mate.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Because I could tell you a story about how, I joined SNLS. Because at that time, out of the 3 rates that they give me, which quick story, they offered me HM for hospital corpsman, and then GSM, gas turbine mechanic.
Gas station mechanic.
And then, and then LS.
Okay.
I knew I didn't want to do HM because I did general science in high school back in Ghana. Okay. And I just knew that that's not something that I wanted to do. And then my cousin at that time was a GSM. So I called him real quick while I was, in Brooklyn. And he was like, yeah, no. He was a GSM, so he already knew about that. He was
knew about it.
He was like, you're not going to like it.
Okay.
I was like, okay. So really the only option I had was LS. Mm-hmm. That's how I ended up being an LS. I didn't even know I would like it. I knew nothing about nothing,
So how I got into it, I always had a knack for physics.
Yeah.
And physics in Jamaica, physics 1 at the Cape level, if anybody's familiar with the Jamaican education system, is electricity, and physics is mechanics. And I was actually pretty good at it. And then when I checked my ASVAB score, my highest line score was electrical proficiency. So I was like, all right, cool. But at the time, I was just a wandering soul. I didn't have I wasn't this composed as yet or anything, but it just called to me and didn't regret it at all. I just rolled with it. And as time went along, I was like, I couldn't see myself doing anything else.
Yep. Yo, Sparky, little Sparky.
Sparky lifestyle,
So how's that transition, for somebody like you that joined the Navy 6 months after you came, you came over here?
And, to tell you the honest truth, it wasn't hard. I'll be honest with you, it wasn't hard. I'm such a driven person. One, I wanted to make my family proud. At the time, I'll be honest, attempted university, didn't work out for me. So, all eyes are on me, my family and everything. Yeah. So the pressure is on. And I said, you know what? You got the chance. Let's make it right. And I moved to the States. Nobody had to tell me to find a job. I walked to TD Bank. I walked to all the stores in the mall, paper applications. This is how behind the times I was. I wasn't applying online. I was going up there with paper applications, and everybody was looking at me weird. But Staples in Carlsbad, New Jersey gave me a chance, and I worked there nonstop. So it was like, I didn't have a car. I'm going to walk.
Yeah.
3 miles going, 3 miles coming. I do more walking in Jamaica anyways. So
Which was probably very normal, as
Yeah.
compared to how you grew up. So yeah, it was the same.
I think people are looking at me weird, like when I was skipping across the highways and everything. But as a countryman from Jamaica, this never bothered me at all. So I don't know. That was just me. I seem to assimilate into America really quick.
Yeah.
So then the Navy, when I got into the Navy now, it was a bit of a culture shock. Like people yelling at me, and the Jamaican culture, they're like, "Yo, bad man, check your tone." So it's like that was a big culture shock for me, but I adjusted. I was a bit old. I was 24 at the time, so 23, 24, I think. So I was a bit more mature than the average person coming
Yeah.
in. So I just fell right in and adjusted. So it
So
wasn't.
talking about adjustment. How much adjustment did you have to make?
Reestablishing a network was a
Okay.
big thing. So I'll tell you this, because Jamaica's a small island, you're going to know somebody everywhere.
Yeah.
So when you drop me into these big states and I don't know nobody,
You know nothing.
I don't know nothing, you know? And one thing I'll tell you this though, what I experienced when I was in New Jersey, people look at you different when you talk with an accent.
Yeah.
And for people who wouldn't know me when I talked to them the first time, they would have never known. So like my accent usually comes out when I'm really comfortable with people or other Jamaicans. But I changed my accent up. That was a bit of a weird phase for me, but no, I just let it rip. I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nav brief, yeah, man. They're restricted maneuvering. I don't care. But that was a big thing for me because I noticed the looks I would got when I would walk up to people. Hey, can I help you with anything? And they're like, "Are you talking to me?"
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, cool. I'm not about this, but all right. But that was one of my big things coming here.
Okay. Did you know right off the jump that you were gonna be a leader in the Navy?
No, like I said, when I was joined, it was just a really blurry point in my life. Like I said, I just, my cousin's husband at the time was a '04. He did his last tour as a liaison officer in Jamaica. So that kind of opened my eyes to the Navy. So I'm like, all right, let's feel it out.
Yeah.
Let's do the 4 years. Let's see what's going to happen. But I didn't know it was going to progress so far. I think it was after shore duty now that everything started to click. By that time, you already got into a routine, everything. And I don't know. I just seemed to stand out, in my opinion. I don't know what my peers thought, but in my opinion, I thought I stood out. And I developed certain leadership qualities over the years, and I think they just stuck with me. So at the time, no, I did not know at all.
Yeah. I think at every for everybody, at one point it kind of clicks that yep, I think this is what I want to do.
Yes.
When was that time for you? When did you realize I want to do this?
So when I wanted to do the Navy, like
Right.
full time, I remember it was you know what? Let me backtrack. It was the LOA on my first ship. And I mean, we're taking beatings after
I was about to say
beatings.
that's a big inspection for engineers.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people want to get out.
And for the audience who don't know, I was on a LSD. Shout out to LSD 43, USS Fort McHenry. Love that crew. And we were taking beatings, just running drills nonstop and everything. But the moment the assessor said yes, and just seeing like people from different backgrounds, different behavior types, just coming together and making the system work like clockwork. When I mean keeps the lights burning and the screws turning and everybody just came together as one, drills run flawlessly. Third classes, second classes, knowing their equipment, just to seeing that picture come together in the space of a couple months, I'm like,
Yep.
I'm not gonna find this nowhere else.
Yeah.
So that was my moment.
Okay. And from that time, you decided, okay, I think I want to do this full time.
Yeah, so that's why it rolled into shore duty after that. So it's not so bad.
And then many years later, we're still here.
Many years later, we're still here, you know? So I guess that moment left that impact on me. I remember we all took a picture on the flight deck afterwards, and it's my Facebook background picture up to this day. Like, it was just one of those moments, like you see everybody come together, and it was great. That was my thing. You know?
So very fast forward, you made chief along the way.
Yes.
Right. What would you say before you made chief was the biggest misconception you knew or thought about chiefs?
So before making chiefs, yeah, I thought, yeah, once you make chief, you're gonna change. You're gonna be different, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I had this misconception, you know, but at the time I didn't know. Hey, boundaries have to be established at that point. You know, as I going through the chief program and everything, it's like, yeah, boundaries have to be established.
Yeah.
Because I went through it. I didn't change, but I had to establish boundaries.
Yeah.
And it's talk about the Kool-Aid, everybody sipping the Kool-Aid. I'm still looking for Kool-Aid. It's mighty refreshing.
Still can't find it.
Still can't find it because I'm still me. I didn't let a program redefine who I am. I'm still me, but I have boundaries because of the leadership position that I'm in. Much is expected of me now.
Yeah.
So that's just that was my misconception before.
Is there anything you know now that you wish you knew, you know, as a much younger sailor coming up in the Navy?
Do not be quick to judge. Be kind to everybody. As simple as that sounds, right? You don't know who's going through a battle at home, at work, but just be kind to everybody.
Yeah.
Don't be quick to judge. Don't rush, jump to conclusions. Just get all the facts first, then make your assessment. You know, as simple as it is. There are some people that have battles that we will never see, and they're holding it together. So that's a lesson I learned.
Yep. They said if people look like, you know, the stuff they were going through, a lot of people look really ugly.
A lot of people looking rough.
People know how to hold it together and still kind of portray that persona like everything is okay, you know. So shout out to those people. But the Navy is not, you know, your only image. You know, you do other things. How do you balance all of these things? Especially, you know, when I met you, you were in sea duty, you know, on the ship. There's a bunch of other things going on. You know, you still keeping, you know, family together. You know, you still have people back in Jamaica. You still have junior sailors who reach out to you. You know, you still have your personal life. You know, how do you balance all these things?
So I have a ritual, right? This is my little tip. When I leave work, I'll sit in my car like 10 to 20 minutes. And I'm trying to decompress and leave everything at Naval Base San Diego.
Nothing goes home.
Nothing goes home. Granted, if a sailor calls me, needs help or something, I'm going to answer. And it was one of the things I learned from my first contract, and it kind of created damage at home. I could never let go of what was going on at work. But no, 10, 20 minutes decompress, leave work. That's the first step. But when I'm out in town, I'm a civilian. There's no EMC, it's just Alex, the yard man. You know, I'm out and about. You know, you would never know. Probably the haircut might give it away and a weird mustache, but I'm out and about interacting like any civilian. Anybody asks me what I do? Well, I work for SDG&E, you know, something else. I just kind of keep that life very separate. And I make it important to make time for people. You know, I don't think I did that a lot coming up. I was always got to be number one. I'll go put in the work. I'll reach out to them another time. No, I take the time. You know, me and my cousins will FaceTime because they're back home. I jump on the game with my boys sometime, and we're just talking because we're spread out. But I do make the time to still keep these interactions going, and it's paid off.
Yep, that's dope. That's dope. You know, change is the only thing that's inevitable. And you know, what's one thing or some things that have changed with you ever since you joined the Navy, you know, and could be by way of just the Navy in general? What are some of the things that may have changed?
From like before the Navy to now, I'll tell you what, I get serious anxiety if I'm on time. I have to be there like 15 minutes before any event starts. So So that's one of the smaller things. But I'd say my aperture.
Yeah.
So before the Navy, I had a very narrow view on things, right? But now I'm trying to get all the information I can.
Yeah.
And I'll give this to the Navy too. I had this tendency to limit myself, right? But with the Navy, just took away the limits. What's stopping you from doing this?
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, that's one thing I'm grateful for because I would always say, man, this seems impossible. I already defeat myself with a mental battle. But the Navy's like, no, bro, nothing's impossible. Let's get back to it, you know?
Yeah.
You could be a doctor tomorrow if you want.
Yep.
Simple. Navy just took away my limits. So to me, I don't view anything as ultra reach or impossible. It is achievable.
Yeah, I have. It's crazy you say that. I know somebody who's a supple actually, and she's about to be a lawyer,
Yeah.
and she's still Navy. You know, she's probably not even going anywhere anytime soon. But
And that's the thing with the Navy. It's like so multifaceted, right?
yeah,
So I started off as an electrician. When I was on the LSD, I started working with MDiv. And I got to love engines. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Example, I went to a class recently and I was looking what the OODs were doing. And I genuinely got interested, but it never seemed like, oh, that's an officer job or that's another rate. I'm like, okay, I could learn this. You
yeah,
know, I can genuinely learn this. So that's my thing, what the Navy did for me.
dope. I know investing is something you're really passionate about.
Very, very.
You know, and I can't. You know, I wish I could share some of the investing tips that he put me on. You know, this man over here is a wizard when it comes to investing. But how did you come about that though?
All right. To the audience, I'm on the money campaign. Always remember that.
The real TMT.
Real TMT. No, but I remember exactly how it started.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in A school. I'm getting Navy paychecks now. I thought I was rich. You know, I recently got married to, and I got BAH. I'm like, I've never seen an influx of money like
Yeah.
that. Because remember, I'm coming from a third world country. I've never seen that kind of money. And I was considered lower middle class in Jamaica, right? And I was in A school. I'm like, no, I can't just be having this money sitting in savings. And I came across a YouTube video where 17, 18-year-old, his father gave him some money to manage. It was a $20,000 portfolio. And he managed to flip it to 500,000 in 6 months. And once I'm like, look, man, I gotta learn this stuff. It was a rocky
This
road.
has to be me.
This has to be me, but you know, and if you ask the guys who were with me in Mayport, I think Robin Hood should give me like some, because I put people on Robin Hood back
The
in
amount of
the day.
referrals.
Amount of referrals, but I was actually, that's how I got into it. I saw that it was possible, and I really got into investing in stocks. Yeah, my strategy changed nowadays, but that's how I got into it.
Okay. What would you say is, one of the investing, I guess maybe mistakes that has taught you the most?
There are many, but uh, but there was one, and I'll never forget it. It was Dogecoin. I invested in something based on the hype and not the proper amount of research.
Yeah.
And this is why my strategy never involves cryptocurrency. I do not like anything where one person can influence how the pricing of that item. That's why I know I invest in industries. But yeah, we went into Dogecoin. We're making money. And then we all thought we were going to be rich and get out, but it didn't work out. Yeah, but I was following the hype of people instead of actually paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah.
And it got out of hand. If I had cashed out when I cashed out, it would have been good. Still walked away, but with a lot less than I should have.
So what do you think you should have done then? Know now.
I should have done my research. Like,
Okay.
not waiting on Elon Musk to come on Saturday Night Live. But when you really think of it, it's like comical.
Yeah.
A tech billionaire coming on a comedy show, and everybody's waiting on that big moment for him to announce something about Dogecoin. So looking back on it, I'm like, Man, I was really, really stupid with that one still, but you live and you learn, right?
Yeah,
And I moved
yeah.
on. So, but now my strategy is a bit safer, invest in ETFs. I don't do individual stocks no more because I target industries that are booming,
Right.
and I see how, and another thing I do, I target industries that are supporting these industries, right? So let's just use a quick example. Like I look at um, look at AI. It's booming, right?
Yep.
But what goes behind AI? You need a hardware infrastructure, the software infrastructure. What else you need to power all these data centers? Power. So that's how one of my infrastructures are.
Okay.
Versus just to keep it safe, I'll invest in an ETF that mirrors or index fund that mirrors the S&P 500, VU, or Triple Q. I'll just keep it simple like that.
Yeah.
But I don't overcomplicate. Because remember, I tell you, $100 a day. I don't have to make 25,000 or like these people. I make $100 a day. And $100 times 30 days, that's what? 3 grand, right? 12 months. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't do math, but my brain's short out right now. So, you know. But yeah, I keep it simple. Don't get greedy. Keep it simple. And keep it in industries where you can get a constant data flow to know what's going on. And that's just how I keep my thing.
Okay. You still do TSPs?
TSP, not so much. It's just on auto, but like I'll every now and again, I will check my funds. Granted, like the Navy matches me five, so I'm gonna go five. You
Right.
know, but I do my own thing privately. But I also keep the TSP. In my opinion, my TSP is for my kids when I get old.
Yeah.
That's just how I view it.
So you do BRS?
BRS, yes.
Okay. Okay. For people that don't know, BRS is where you put in a percentage of your pay, and the Navy matches that percent.
Yeah, the Navy matches up to 5%, and I think you get 40% at retirement instead of the 50. Yeah.
Yeah. Some people. So I never opted into BRS. I kept the old school legacy. Because what was explained to me at that time, which I think is so true after I did my research, is if you plan on getting out or you have doubts, you should probably go for BRS.
And that's what was pitched to me at the time because, man, that first LOA was rough. So I was like, this cannot be it. I'm coming to work at 05 and leaving at 21. No, I'm like, bad man have no life.
Yeah, but they said if you plan on staying, which I think I knew that I would stay, then you should probably just keep the legacy.
Yeah.
So I think they both good. It just kind of looks at how you what's your retirement strategy really. But we could talk more about BRS and TSP later. But if a junior sailor came to you and wanted investment advice, now mind you, disclaimer, we're not financial advisors here. But, people have done stuff in life and have learned a few things that we can pass on. But if a junior sailor came to you and wanted financial advice about investing, what would you tell them?
All right. So first things first, learn to live off one paycheck. I've been doing that for several years. So pretty much one paycheck is banked and all my bills, car note, rent, everything, baby mama fees, everything out of one. Live out of a paycheck. Then build up your emergency fund at least 3 to 6 months. You probably hear this on online with podcasters, but it's actually simple strategies. Live below your means. The best piece of advice I got was from Ensign back in the day, Ensign Garza. He had just commissioned. He went to OCS. He's like, no matter how high up you go, live a rank below. So always that difference you get in pay, just put it away. That's all you got to do. Put it away into some high yield savings account. Put it into something. Once you have these factors established, emergency saving, right? You're living off one paycheck and you have no credit card debt. Then we move on to investing. Then we move on to industries. And then I would say do your research into what you think you would want to invest in. But that's just how I would go about it.
Yeah.
So
you live most of your expenses off of a half month's pay.
yes.
Pretty smart. Pretty smart.
I've been doing that for like 5-6 years now.
I'll be like you when I grow up, man. Yeah, but beyond investing though, what is your overall philosophy on building wealth? And I know it's kind of relative, but what is your overall philosophy on that?
I like that you said that it's relative because it's gonna differ.
Right.
My philosophy on wealth, it transcends more than having assets, money in the bank, but acquiring wealth is the easy part. Keeping it is on
Maintaining it.
maintaining it is another thing. Because and I think it goes a long way with educating the next generation. So to me, it's a mindset that has to be passed down and a discipline that has to be instilled in the next generation. Because you'll see some families, they still keep their wealth going centuries,
Yeah.
right? But some start out and then there's a break and there's a complete drop off,
Yeah.
right? So I do believe wealth is more of a mindset and a discipline than material means.
Yeah.
That's just me. And I feel like we have to start educating our kids young on that. So my two daughters, for example, like I give them money, right? The older one never spends anything, right? Never. She goes with that money straight to the piggy bank. Younger one spends her money, still comes back to daddy.
Yep. Daddy got more.
That is the bank, you know? But it's just that you see a mindset at that early. Hey, just take 5 minutes out of the day and at least train it into them. Yeah, they're going to make mistakes along the way, but you passed on that knowledge to a point where it's eventually going to have to click.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's just how I view that situation. Again, not a financial advisor.
But this is worth a lot though. Yeah. All right. So let's talk Navy a little bit because I think that's the bulk of what we do on a day to day.
All right.
The Navy has come up with a lot of changes over the last couple of years, and I think we've probably seen it. A lot of people will probably admit that we have seen a lot more rapid changes over the last few years. Be it retention, recruiting, how we train, education, opportunities, stuff like that. But what's one change that has probably affected what you do in the Navy the most?
And I'll just call a spade on this one. I do believe there's a degradation to our training.
Okay.
And it's versus what I saw, maybe I'm just becoming into that old salty self of mine. But when I came in, you were trained down to a T.
Yeah.
So every light item on that PQS you have to talk to.
Yep.
Granted, now it's kind of like changing. I'll be asking like basic questions. You see me at the drills, the duty section drills, and I'm asking questions, and I'm not getting a response from people who should be qualified. So I do believe there's a degradation in our training. Engineering has done well on our ship to keep it up because we actually drill our stuff down. But it's an overall thing because I've been to other ships and I have seen a degradation in what's standing like training and also your rate, your knowledge and rate. So that's just what I've seen over the years.
So that has gone down.
That has gone down. And so how it affects me, let's say there's actual class Bravo fire on the ship and I need the spaces. And I'm not losing no ship on my watch. So that's
Yeah. And I can agree. I think we ask basic questions to people who are supposed to know and they don't know, Meanwhile, they're qualified.
They're qualified, yeah.
Yeah. But, with current affairs and everything that's happening, conflicts and all these things, and still balancing the responsibility of taking care of sailors, that's like the brink of what a lot of chiefs do. What do you think is the right balance that the Navy, needs to implement to make sure those things are happening? Future operations still happening while currently still taking care of sailors to help them, because sometimes you can't do both.
You can't do both, and that's a really tricky question too because operational demands is going to outweigh, taking care of our guys. Sometimes I hate to say it sucks.
Yeah,
but it's just when you get the time, allow these people to handle what they need to handle.
Yeah,
right. We got to find that balance, and that's up to us as leaders. We need to push back on it. Maybe more predictable schedules, but like I said, as you saw, that stuff popped off in the Strait of Hormuz, right? Like, there's only so much I can do. I have to get the ship ready this time, but we still have to take care of these guys, get them mentally ready. At the same time, it's a tough balance. So when I can, I take care of my guys. I cut them loose. Hey, you need to handle this.
Yeah.
Do you need help with this? And at the same time, don't be afraid to reach out, like follow up. I would say we need to follow up too. Like, did you get this done? Do you need help? You know, because we're subject matter experts, or we know somebody who's been through a situation like this before, and we can expedite it. So that one is a tough one to answer, Kwame. I won't lie to you. That one is really tough because, yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I would imagine this is something a lot of people probably think about, or at least you should be thinking about, because at one point you got to find a balance. And remember, balance is not always 50-50, It's not always 50-50. It just has to balance out. It's either you do more work today or taking care of sailors more tomorrow, but it has to balance out one way or the other, But we're going to get, at this point, we're going to get on to our, I call it a rapid fire question.
Rapid fire.
Series of questions kind of gauge who Alex Sukhram is.
All right,
this
all
is
right.
True Bearing Podcast. Like to kind of see where people are heading. So first thing is, what is your favorite Jamaican dish?
Without a doubt, jerk chicken. Come on, you know this.
But something that I've always wanted to ask, my Jamaican friends is, jerk chicken is not a dish, but it's a staple.
Yeah. It's like a mandatory, like you have to have some jerk fold there, you know what I mean?
If a Jamaican, well, most people at least, if they had jerk chicken and nothing with it, they'll be okay.
Listen, so you can have jerk chicken on 2 festival, or you can have jerk chicken on some rice and peas. But for me, just give me the straight fold in the foil paper. I'm good. That's just me. Like I said, simple guy from the beginning.
Yeah. All right. Jerk chicken it is. So what's one stock or ETF that everyone should learn about? Maybe not necessarily buy, but you should probably learn about it.
I would say looking into VOO, VOO, it mirrors the S&P 500, so can't lose.
And that's a lot of people pay a lot of money for this type of information. So
disclaimer, not a financial advisor.
Yep. What's the best book you've read recently?
Ooh, that's a good one. It's a toss-up between The Art of War. That's a good one. And it's a Caribbean book I read recently. A Raisin in the Sun. I think it's A Raisin in the Sun. Something like that.
A Race in the Sun?
Yeah, A Raisin in the Sun. It's about simple Caribbean lifestyle. I can't remember the name off the top, which is weird because I even have it on my phone. Hold on. You'd think I would know the title of a book that I am reading.
But I mean, you're not alone. I'm the type that I could probably tell you a lot of things in a book, but I might not even remember the title
because I read so much.
Yeah.
That's my thing. It's A Brighter Sun.
A Brighter Sun.
A Brighter Sun.
Okay. What do you read that at?
Huh?
What do you read that at?
Like on the ship, everywhere.
No. Like what platform do you get it from?
I just download it on my phone. So before I go on that way every time, I'll just get a couple books and download it, and I'll be in my rack just reading at night.
Like Spotify.
No, just
like
the Apple Library.
Kindle. Oh, Apple Library. Okay. All right. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
All day, huh?
All day.
The beach or the mountains?
Tough one. Because, I always talk about the Costa Rican mountain cottage. But at the same time, if you give me a good beach with clear water, I'm going to have to say beach.
Man, this man has some obsession about living in Costa Rica. And maybe one of these days we'll learn about that. But
yeah, we got to bring the podcast back when I actually move up there. Clean living, people live longer, food's free of hormones. It just appeals to me.
The beach, John.
The beach, for sure.
Beach it is. 5 a.m. club or 5 p.m. club?
Best results, 5 a.m. I've been slacking, so evening club.
Hey, 5 a.m. in for everybody.
I mean, no, but if you want to see them results, you get up at 5. So my thing is, I noticed when I used to work out with a 5 a.m. club, and if DC ever sees this, he's going to say, yeah, that's a long time ago. Not only are you doing something that's considered against the grain, because nobody's up, the world's still asleep. You're already setting up yourself for success, right? You knock out something hard in the morning, and then you're gonna face the day. So if you knock out one hard task, the day is like, well, what could get harder, you know? And it sets your mind up and it wakes up your body. So that's why I said best results 5 a.m.
Yeah. You know, my boy Gabe is gonna disagree. You know, because he's more of an evening workout type of person. You know, he definitely shows results. You know,
Yeah.
he's one of the few that you know work out in the evenings and actually put in work.
And my thing though, what the evening thing, I don't like the bag of crowd and people. You know, I'm a solitary person, so I just like to be there on the treadmill. I don't want like nobody like, hey bro, like no,
Yeah.
it's too early. Dog.
You're gonna be sharing the bench with someone.
Yeah, come on, you know.
All right. Last question. So, what's one habit that has made you the most successful?
A habit that has made me most successful, I would say reading the news no matter what. I'm aware of what's going on every time. I may not understand it all the time, but it might, because I invest, I have to know what's going on, and it's just kept me informed with everything. So get up, read the news on the phone, BBC, any news you want, just get your news. I use British Broadcasting because I think it's non-biased. So that's
The BBC.
Yeah.
That's how we grew up on.
Yeah, that's what I grew up on in Jamaica too. BBC, TVJ News. I rarely watch the Fox News and all of that. That's just where I get all my info from, you know. And then, you know, read articles on finance. Just reading in the morning. Those first 15, 20 minutes, just reading.
Yeah.
That's just me. Listen to some Jamaican music in the car every morning.
Yep.
You're coming right.
Bump it up. Huh?
Yeah. So that's just me. Like I said, very simple person, people. Nothing to it. No special formula or superpowers.
Yeah.
I'm just a normal guy. You know.
All right. If anybody that's watching this, you know, has a chance to listen to you and take one piece of advice from you, what would it be?
Don't live in the past. It's already gone. You know, let that stuff go. Because I've been hooked on certain things in the past and it held me back. If it happened, it happened. The only way is forward. And that's all I gotta say.
All right. Well, we appreciate you for stopping by. You know,
Hey, bad man.
it's always a pleasure having you. We'll toast to that.
Cheers on this. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, but you know, it's been a pleasure having you on the podcast. You know, thanks very much.
Come on.
You know, my man Alex. You know, hopefully you picked out a few things. If nothing at all, I think we picked up some leadership lessons. You know, picked up some investment trips and tips and you know stuff like that. We picked up what the journey has looked like. You know, from then until now. You know, coming from Jamaica and branching into you know this culture and the Navy and being successful at it. You know, not just doing it, being successful at it. You know, Chief Petty Officer in the Navy. You know, so thank you very much for stopping by.
Anytime, brother.
Yeah. So if you're watching this, you know, I'm still Kwame. You know, your host. This is True Bearing Podcast. You know, until next time, stay true to your bearing. All right, we'll see you around.